Hello everyone, this is Livia Caudell and I'm the founder of Conscious Wealth Builders. I'm here with Larry Benet. He is the founder of Sang. And Larry, we just spent the last most amazing 2 days probably of my life. You did a Sang reunion, you brought some world-renowned socially conscious thought leaders together, investors, entrepreneurs, to really be able to mastermind with one another at a very high level, to really create tremendous value for these leaders. And I just love this, socially conscious thought leaders. So just tell us a little bit about you, your life story, how you got to create this, and what you're doing now. Like, you're kind of stepping into this conscious movement, and that's obviously what this is all about. So
yeah, so many years ago we started Sang, and over the years we've had some really remarkable people come to our Sang conferences. So everyone from a Tony Robbins to Peter Guber, who owns the Golden State Warriors and part of the Dodgers, Tony Hsieh from Zappos, I introduced to Tony Robbins in the hallway, for example. Everyone from Paula Abdul, and just the other day, for example, Nicole Arbour, who's one of these big social media celebrities with 300 million views, and like you mentioned, we had a lot of business moguls, iconic visionary folks that have changed the world in their respective categories. And it's not so much about name dropping. It's like some of these people are just we had 5 of Richard Branson's business partners. We had people like that. Richard just flew over Simon Mainwaring, who I think is doing one of your programs or something. Yep. And Simon wrote the New York Times bestselling book We First, but he's so good. I think he talked about something about what was he say? What was that phrase? Something about be a company with a mission, or be a mission.
Yeah.
No, have a mission.
Have a mission
with a company.
With a company.
Yeah, it was so cool. And anyway, so long story short, for me, I would rather hang out with people that are down to earth, humble, successful, giving, kind. The greatest compliment, actually, from this last event. So there's a Hollywood business mogul. Don't need to mention his name. His wife is very successful in her own right. She's been the chief marketing officer of major brands, 2 major hotel brands. And I never met her before. She was actually invited by one of my friends. And so she hands me a card, and I look at the card, I look at the last name, and I'm like, are you so-and-so's wife? And yes. And she says, I got to tell you, she goes, because of my husband and who I am, we get invited to all sorts of events.
Yeah.
And she says, this is the first event I've ever been to where everyone's successful, everyone's nice, everyone's helping each other. I've never seen this before.
That's incredible.
And so what I really worked hard to do is bring the energy and create the environment. So the thing is, no matter who you are, you always need something. If you're a billionaire, you have a charity, you're trying to get more reach for your charity.
Yeah.
Harvey Mackay, for example, who's one of my mentors, for the last 30 years, if you haven't read Harvey's books, you should go read Harvey's books. Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive. I think he's had 7 New York Times bestselling books. His articles appear weekly in over 10 million newspaper columns. But the point is, he came because he wanted to get his Mackay University, which is his body of work. He could charge thousands of dollars, but he's doing it for $100 or something. So to him, that's his legacy project. The money is not going to change his life. He's already flying privately. He already when Muhammad Ali died, Harvey Mackay was with the family, the only person, right? Yeah. So those are some of the kind of people we brought together. Now, Keith Ferrazzi, who's another mentor of mine,
phenomenal.
I have 2 of his books over there.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And in regards to Keith, he wrote the book Never Eat Alone and Who's Got Your Back, and he's got a new tech startup called Yoy, and he used to be the former chief marketing officer for Starwood Resorts and other things, but he's trying to raise money. And so I said to him, I'm like, well, maybe I can introduce you to some people. Maybe we can host a dinner party for you from some of the folks in our network. Yeah. And then hey, why don't you come to the Sang conference, and we'll just connect you up with people that can help you. And so everyone came for different reasons, but when you have all these successful people, whatever you want or need is right there. What was most interesting to me, there's a gentleman that was running $1 billion plus technology company, and one of the top TV shows on CBS is based on his life, okay? And I think 26 million viewers, it's distributed in 100 countries around the world. And anyway, he was on stage. At the end, I asked everyone, well, how can everyone help you? And he says, well, I'm trying to crack into Unilever, and I know I can help them, but I've been having a struggle getting in there. And I point to Simon Mainwaring, who's in the front row. I'm like, hey, can you help Walter O'Brien? this is a no-brainer for you, right? You can make that introduction, yeah. And then the meeting ends, and Simon Mainwaring hits me up and goes, "Hey, can you connect me to Harvey McKay?" Now they just met, but they maybe forgot to swap cards.
Sure,
So
of course.
no problem. I know Harvey can teach a lot to Simon about book marketing. Why? Because Harvey's like one of the best-selling business authors of the last 30 years, like 10 million, 20 million books.
Yeah.
Simon's trying to get his word out about the conscious capital movement on purpose-driven companies.
Yep.
And I'm fired up about purpose-driven companies.
Yes, you are.
You connected me to Raj, who wrote the book Conscious Capitalism with John Mackey
Yep.
and started Conscious Capitalism.
Yep.
And Raj wrote a book called Firms of Endearment and Conscious Capitalism. And what it basically says is good S&P 500 companies are here. The good to great companies that Jim Collins talks about, where you put the right people on the bus and they, give them the right vision and they grow, those companies are 10x multipliers over S&P companies. And then the conscious capital companies are 4x multipliers over the good to great companies.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Over a 15-year window.
Yeah.
So to me, this is a better business model. This is a
Absolutely.
better opportunity. And from the way I view life is like, if I meet you, can I help you? Can I add value to you? Can I be kind and generous to you? That to me is a better approach than talking about how cool I am, how great I am, what great products and services I have. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So what's interesting, check this out. So last Monday night, so our event was Tuesday, at like 9 o'clock or 9:30 at night, I get introduced to Nicole Arbor. She's the one that's got the social media, huge following. And literally as we speak, right now in Vegas, I believe Guinness Book of World Record is honoring her.
Wow.
Based on like either the fastest person to get to a certain number of views or something.
Wow.
And anyway, so here's the point. So I ended up having lunch with her yesterday, and she tells me literally, so today is Friday as we're filming this.
Yeah.
So this is on Tuesday, okay? She tells me she's recording her hip hop, her video. So I say, what do you need? She's like, well, first of all, there's 2 TV networks that want to buy my sitcom and my 2 TV shows.
Yeah.
But she goes, I need an entertainment lawyer. I'm like, so literally at 3 o'clock this morning, I fire off an email to my entertainment lawyer, who's the past chairman of the Grammys, literally one of the most powerful, influential entertainment lawyers in the world. And it's a good connection for him, and it's a good connection for her. So that's 1 + 1 will equal 11. Then I said to her, what else do you need? She goes, well, I really could use a nice mansion or 2 to go film at. So I started crafting an email that's going to go out to 3 or 4 of my friends with beautiful mansions in Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, what have you.
Amazing.
It'll be of value to them because her video is so watched. It's going to be a huge video. Her first video she ever did, 22 million people watched.
It's incredible.
And she's known for creating some of the most powerful viral videos in the world. And major corporations like Virgin hire her to go do these things. So then I said, well, what else do you need? Well, she's like, well, if I could really get Bob Barker for the Price is Right thing, or to do something in the video. Now the odds of her, so my father plays tennis with a good friend, and that person's daughter is Bob Barker's publicist. So I'm like, okay, what else do you need?
I love how the universe works.
And so all I'm doing is I'm always asking people, what do you need help with?
That's
How can I
amazing.
connect you? So A, it's a better philosophy to live by.
Yeah.
B, from a business perspective, conscious business is where it's at. To take care of the stakeholders, all the stakeholders equally. So if you're my vendor partner, I should treat you kindly. I shouldn't try to beat you up over price.
Yeah.
You should make a healthy profit. If you're an employee, I should treat you kind. I should be generous. I should make you a lot of money because to take care of your family. And if you're my customer, I should take good care of you because that's the right thing to do. Tony Hsieh once told me, if I take care of my employees, they'll take care of my customers. If I take care of my customers, they'll take care of the company. And if you take care of your investors, it's a 360-degree view. So that's why I'm passionate about it. And I know if I'm bringing together some of the most influential in business, the elite thought leaders, the most influential entrepreneurs on the planet, and I bring the investment community, the private equity, the angel, the venture capitalists, and the hedge funds, and they're all socially conscious, and they're all trying to help each other, that's a cool thing.
Absolutely. And that's what this whole movement's about. Conscious Wealth Builders. It really is about connecting with your higher purpose, aligning with that, and then creating a business around that. So you're really great at being able to put people into a room and the business side of it, right? Because that's the thing I think that most people struggle with is being able to monetize a business that's in alignment with what they feel is their purpose.
Sure.
Right? So can you share a little bit about how you do that? I know it's through value, but
Well, I mean, I would say in terms of business, it starts with also like personal stuff, right?
Sure.
So for me, I like going to the Grammys, or I like going to sporting events, or I like going to the I don't even have to go to the Super Bowl game. I just like being at these events with the energy and stuff like that. I like having dinner parties with close friends. So I ask myself, what do I like to do? What am I most passionate about? So I am I like helping the homeless. I like helping the military vets. I like being around socially conscious business people. I like going on amazing vacations. I like going to spas. I like doing all these kind of things. And if Chris needs to come, he can just come through. And so basically, all these things are things I like to do. And so if you ask yourself the question, what am I most passionate about? What am I good at? Or what am I most passionate about? So if I were to do it, even if I did it for free, it would be fun. Like, I don't mind doing this interview. This is fun.
Yeah.
And so how do you package everything in one scenario that meets all your, Tony Robbins, was talking about life balance. The reality is there's no such thing. If you're dealing with a high impact entrepreneur, there's going to be time. I've been working 21-hour days the last couple weeks. But you know what? I was fine with it because it was my purpose. I'm really happy that all these people came together. I knew it was going to take an absolute village of people to put it wasn't me. It was 25 other people that had companies that kind of threw in to kind of, you helped out.
Yeah, 100%. It takes a team for sure.
My friend Chris Wise knew you, and I met you. Where did we meet? We met in...
It was March of this year, in Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
And you have your own thing, but you kind of helped out. So to me, it's win-win-win. 1 plus 1 plus 1. And that's what it's all about. So how do you take your passions? How do you apply what are your purposes? And then the other thing is, who else is out there that's doing a business model like yours that you can tap into? That you can have that same model.
Absolutely, that's amazing. So yeah, is there anything else like keys or anything to creating a prosperous business and having to be sustainable? Because again, this is the key thing that most people are missing is how to create a sustainable business.
Well, I'll just tell you for me, I know if you treat people right, so for example, we just pulled this event off in less than 4 weeks, which is not normal. It would normally take a couple $1 million to produce this type of event.
So that's actually brilliant that you say that because it was a very high profile event. I mean, you can see the banners were all beautiful. The video was awesome. You had one of the top audio visual people there.
What I'm saying, one of my friends, Nick, who has done stuff for Tony Robbins. I happened to live to meet him the week before.
Yeah.
I'm like, you do sound and music for Tony? I'm like, why don't you come and do it? But the point is, Jay Abraham, who I co-hosted the event with, Jay gets $100,000 a day to do consulting.
Sure.
Harvey McKay or Keith Farrar, some of these guys get $60,000, $75,000 just to show up for a 1 hour talk. So to have them all there, or the #1 vocal coach in the world, the main reason I was able to pull that off is I had a lot of relationship capital, a lot of connection capital, a lot of connection currency with some of these people. Yeah. If I had to pay for those folks to be there, financially, I would not have been able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that stops a lot of people from really taking that first step is because they say, wow, this is going to cost a lot of money. So prosperity isn't necessarily money. You can build relationships.
It's the mindset.
Value. It's mindset. It's a consciousness, isn't it?
Yeah, so I will say this. Tony Robbins always says this. It's never about money. It's always about how resourceful you are. And for a while, I was like, well, I hear that, but if I don't have the money, it's going to be hard to produce this event.
Yeah.
I got super creative. I bartered literally for $250,000 of things. I got terms with the AV company. I mean, I had all sorts of stuff.
I saw it before my own eyes. It was incredible.
I mean, we literally called a major audiovisual company called Orlando Productions. They do major concerts. They do Comedy Central, Amy Schumer, like big stuff. Yeah. And they did a favorable what it would normally cost me, it was very favorable terms, stuff that they normally don't do. But I said, listen, I have so many influencers. I need the best. If you're in the room, it's going to help you. It's going to help us. I'm willing to do more things with you in the future. So how can we work out a win-win-win situation? Not a win-lose, win-win-win.
That's amazing. And you know what? And it takes tremendous courage to be able to ask. And that's another thing, is we don't ask for help or how can I help you to help me. People are scared to do that. You know what I mean? So it takes tremendous courage. So I acknowledge you for that. So I would say that's another tip, is you've got to develop the leadership skills to be able to be courageous to have those kinds of conversations.
The other thing I will tell you, most people get hung up with their if their business is not where they want it to be, or let's say they don't have the money, or whatever the situation is, I learned one of my biggest mistakes. I've actually had bankruptcy. I mean, I've battled depression on multiple occasions when my business was doing well and when it dropped.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
And what I should have done over all those times, I should have went and asking for help of the people that could help me.
Yep.
And I think sometimes our pride gets in the way.
Absolutely.
And so if you can ask for help, there are other people that can help you. There are other people that know the way. Whatever you want and need, someone else already has. They either have the money or they have the connection. So if you know who your perfect client is, someone already has your perfect contacts, your perfect clients. If you need a partner, who already has your perfect strategic partner? Someone has. Now the question is, how do I add enough value? If you had my perfect partners, how do I add enough value to you? How do I support you? How do I serve you? How do I make a difference for you so you want to help me?
Yeah, absolutely.
What the nicest thing at the end of my conference, I had some of my biggest mentors and friends, people that I've looked up to for years. Jay Samit, I mean, he ran Sony Entertainment. This guy wrote the book Disrupt. It was one of the top business books last year. He's run publicly traded companies, raised hundreds of millions of dollars. He has disrupted 6 major industries. I'm not talking tiny industries, I'm talking the biggest industries in the world. He comes up to me and says, hey, I think you've got an amazing network. I don't know if you've ever monetized this thing to the way you could have or should have. He goes, but I want to help you. Keith Ferrazzi, who I've known for at least 10 or 15 years, who's one of the most connected guys on the planet, says, you know what, I just want you to know I got your back. And I said, I got your back. And then Simon Mainhorn, who I really respect, and
he loves you.
He says, dude, you just blew it out. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was epic. He goes, I want to help. And so, all these people, then a guy that Rick Radich, who used to work for Bill Gates doing technology, he goes, hey, I want to build out the technology behind the scenes to help build this movement. And so you have a big enough vision, you can attract the right people. So it's a combination of vision and resourcefulness.
Absolutely.
And serving other people.
And so an acknowledgement to you is you're vulnerable. You have the vulnerability, and that is a part of being a conscious person, is being able to be vulnerable, like we were talking about, and get your pride out of the way and say, hey, listen, I need a favor, or how can I help you? And being vulnerable and saying, hey, this is where I'm at, right? And being able to share honestly and authentically. And there were so many great speakers at the Sang reunion that were speaking about that on stage, which was so cool. Because there's a huge movement inside of the conscious community about vulnerability is sexy.
We had my friend Chris Wise, he shared, he went to prison unjustly, and then he shared all the struggle he had overcome. Lewis Howes, who's one of the top podcasters in the world, he ended his talk talking about how he was sexually abused as a little child. And he shared, here's this big physical guy, 6'4", Hulk, strong, powerful, playing for professional sports teams, talking about how he was sexually abused. Here's the thing, there were so many successful people in that room. You're not going to go, how are you going to go impress someone that's a billionaire? How are you going to go impress the person that's the national entrepreneur there? How are you going to go impress the guy that's the #1 person in the world? Everyone in the room was like one of the top in the world.
Absolutely.
Where you're going to connect, you know what? I went through bankruptcy. I had a depression. You know what? My child went through drugs, or whatever it is. I had a divorce. How many people have been impacted by divorce? Like 75% of the people raise their hands. Well, look around the room. That's where you're going to connect, on the vulnerability, on the challenges, the obstacles that you've overcome. And if you're really trying to make a connection with someone, I suggest getting real, getting authentic, and getting rid of this fake posterior. Because normally you go to these conferences, everyone's got their, they got their chest out. And I'm the greatest. Give me a break. Let's get real and let's have a conversation about life. What's on your bucket list? What do you need help with? Where do you want to go travel? What do you want to go? What's your dream? A couple years ago, I had a kid who was 19 years old, I think at the time, and he walks in. I only needed help for the day. And I asked someone, I said, well, find me an assistant for the day. And he comes in, and just like we're having a conversation here, and I literally say, listen, I'm not going to have much time with you today, or to talk to you right now, but tell me your dream. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear, but tell me your dream. He goes, well, I really want to do music, and I want to make a career in music. I'm like, okay. You have anything I could watch? He shows me his YouTube channel, had 750,000 views.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, you're really good.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, I actually finished 13th on American Idol. I'm like,
holy
really?
cow,
but it was
amazing.
before they actually ever showed the top 13. They only showed normally the top 12 when he did it. But anyway, I said, well, if you end up working with me, you're going to meet some people. Anyway, long story short, he, eventually got a recording contract, and now, it's my former assistant. He finally had a major hit on the Billboard 100, and things are going well. And like when the Orlando shootings happened, he did something for the LBGT community, and now he's blowing up. But it's all about helping people with their dreams.
It's amazing.
And making things happen. So I think that's all.
That is so amazing. That's so amazing, Larry. You're such a great guy. Like, I'm just so honored to have you, doing this interview and sharing your message with the world, because there is a huge movement that's happening. People are starting to wake up, and we need leaders. Right? And you're really stepping in to really lead this movement. So share more about, because I know you talked about it even at the conference, you've been wanting to do more socially conscious things. And so it's amazing how this reunion kind of came about.
Well, actually,
Share about, like, what are you thinking? Like, what's next for Larry Benet?
Well, I was in Thailand recently, and basically my friend Fred Katona, who helped launch Priceline.com, he unfortunately passed away. He left. I had breakfast with him, and he told me his dream was to get his book called Plum Crazy out. And I said, happy to help get him an agent. And he literally shut down his direct response radio company. And as a result, he wanted to focus on his big app. So anyway, long story short, so from the time he left Thailand to the time he left Philadelphia, by the time I went to sleep and woke up, he passed away.
Yeah.
So when someone said Fred was dead, that kind of like hit me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, you know what? For years, I've been talking about this social conscious, bringing all these people together. I'm like, you know what? Life is short. Life is precious. A year ago, almost to this month, I gave a speech for Roger Salam, who we both know. The next morning, I woke up 4:30 in the morning. I went for a walk at 5:30 in the morning. I've got my phone. I'm texting someone. How can I help them? And I look up and I hear a loud screeching sound, and literally, as close as that chair is to me, there is a red Mazda Miata that has hurdled the curb, is about to run me over and hit me dead on.
Wow.
And by the grace of God, I got out of the way at the last second. And I know how precious life is, and those things happen. So for me right now, who knows how long things are going to go, but I'm just going to go put everything I've got behind some of my ideas, my dreams, and just make things happen. And we obviously have had saying over the years some amazing things have happened as a result. And to me, I just know when you bring great people together and you help everyone get what they want, great things can occur. And I just know it'll have a massive ripple effect in the economy in this country, around the world, when other people, when these elite thought leaders, these elite investors, these titans of industry, they're getting their needs met so they can help more people. So that's really what it's about.
That's amazing. Yeah, and we're even talking about perhaps creating a mastermind with Raj Sisodia and doing something with socially conscious people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I really get, like, there's definitely an alignment of purpose there and forwarding that.
And I'm all about collaboration. I'm not about competition. So conscious capitalism, they already doing amazing things.
Yes.
I just happen to have, the way I curate conferences is very, it's very unique. It's very intimate. It's ways to connect people. So like, we don't have a whole lot of speakers. It's a few minutes at a time, and then it's about networking, it's about roundtables, and then it's a few speakers here and there. I don't let anyone speak for a long period of time. Even if you make $100,000 for a speech, I'm like, I'm going to give you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 15 minutes. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Share your big idea. And so it's quick, rapid paced things, at least at our event, but to me, it's about the connections. And if I could collaborate with Conscious Capitalism or Whole Foods or amazing companies, I'm all about it.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so a lot of these viewers that are watching are going to be, people who have a desire to become an entrepreneur, or maybe they are, but they're small time right now. So they're like, okay, I've got this purpose. I want to make a difference on the planet. So how do I start? Like, what do I do?
A, just get started. B, find a mentor.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Whatever you want to do, I promise you someone has done it before you, right? So who are they? I'll give you a perfect example. I went to college at Florida State. If I had to replay the whole career all over again and rewind the clock, I would have done one of three things. Either I would have went to work for Tony Robbins, because I think he's brilliant. B, I would have tried to work for Richard Branson up close and personal, because he's my all-time famous. Him and John Paul DeJorio are the two entrepreneurs I look to, because they're philanthropic, they're socially conscious, they've created billion-dollar companies multiple times, they've employed lots of people, and they're humble, and how they show up in the world is how I want to show up. Amazing. I look at Steve Wynn and I'm like, man, this guy's created luxury properties that people like. I'm going to go back to Vegas just because the way I feel when I'm in his property, I feel like $1 billion, right? And so I would have either went to work for Steve Wynn, or I would have went to work for an Ari Emanuel or someone in Hollywood that's an absolute power player, even as an intern, or I would have volunteered my time at a charity just to get in close proximity. In the last week or two, we had a number of interns, and those interns said by just in being in close proximity to me and helping me, they learned more than probably what they've learned at college and other other things. I don't know, Nick's taking video, I don't know, maybe he can say that, but to me, find the mentors. Who's out there? Is there someone that could coach you? It is so expensive to go learn on your own dime. That is the dumbest thing you can ever do. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. So find out who already's got the shortcut. Let them give you the blueprint. Either work with them, help them, or whatever, or they'll just tell you the step-by-step things you got to go do. That's what it's about. So that's what I would do. And the other thing is, you said there's a lot of people that are small time. No one's small time. You may not have the money in your bank account right now. That's okay. But I'll give you an example. One of my clients used to be the 23rd wealthiest man in America. He used to be worth $3.5 billion. Guess what? He lost his $3.5 billion fortune. Yeah. When I met him, he was dirt broke. But you know what? He thought like a billionaire. To this day, Bill Bartman, the greatest signal negotiator I have ever met, I learned so. When we used to share the same hotel room because we didn't have enough money, and he's up for the Nobel Peace Prize. He credits me with how to think and always add value, serving others, and that's one of the reasons he's game changed the whole collection industry. And anyway, the point is, find someone like a Bill Bartman, find someone like me, find someone like you, find someone who can help. So
awesome.
That's what it's all about.
Amazing. Okay, and then one last question. So
and the bonus run, it's going to cost you some money.
We've got 5 more minutes here with you, so I want to definitely just.
The camera guy's showing. We got to go. We got to go.
5 minutes. So, there's kind of this, myth that quote unquote rich people, right, with a lot of money, are greedy or this and that. My experience, at least of the people in the room, were that they were beautiful hearts and definitely wanted to help, especially when they have a leader who's, hey, let's really make this about helping people.
Yeah.
So what's your experience? Because you do work with a lot of high profile people. Would you say that rich people for the most part are generous, or would you say that they are greedy?
Both.
Okay.
I'll give you a perfect example. John Asseroff, who was in the movie The Secret, he had this beautiful home in San Diego, California, Rancho Santa Fe. He points out to the left. He goes, see that house? He goes, that guy's a billionaire. He goes, see that guy? That guy's a billionaire. But see that house over there? That guy is really nice. I've known that guy for a long time. He goes, see that guy over there? He goes, that guy's been not nice for a very long time. He goes, the only difference is that guy was nice and that guy wasn't. And that guy has never changed. That guy has never changed. The only thing money will do, the more money you have, the more social impact you can have, the bigger difference. There was a guy that was homeless. I met him a week ago or 2 weeks ago at Metal. My friend Ken Rakowski was part of saying, so this guy gave this amazing presentation on all the obstacles he's overcome and the drugs and the projects. And I walked up to him, I'm like, listen, I've seen the best speakers in the world. That was an unbelievable talk. So I said, hey, where do you live? And he looks at me, he says, well, right now, he goes, I'm living in my car. And I'm like, what? You're living in your car? I'm like, okay. What are you doing? I'm like, because he was asking me about my event, and I was like, well, it's $2,500, it's $5,000 a day, and for Metal members, it's $2,500. Now, I didn't know this before. He tells me he's basically homeless. I'm like, okay, you can come as my guest, and I'm going to help you. So technically, we had a guy amongst titans of industry that was homeless. But you know what? He could add value. He was the most ripped guy in the room, right? And he was the happiest and had biggest smile. And I know there were people that put him up in a hotel. I don't know all the other things that have happened since. I've literally taken people homeless off the street, put them in a hotel room with me to go to a seminar so they can go learn. People are people. People have rough times, people have good times. Listen, I've fallen on hard times, I've made it and lost it more times than I can count. And every single time there's always been somebody, every time it's been different, but there's always been someone. Years ago it was Chris White, other times it's been a Jay Abraham, it just really depends. But so people are people, and you just got to give them a helping hand.
That's awesome.
And I even told them, I said, listen, when you need to repay it one day, just go repay it.
Yeah, I love that. Someone once told me that money just enhances who you already are.
Exactly.
And so as you're making more, it's just going to enhance that.
By the way, the more you give, the more you get. And I promise you, what's interesting is I was over at Keith Ferrazzi's dinner party, and I think they asked us our most precious or valuable asset or something. And some people were going to say it was a watch or a car. And I told them for me, it was my video of my mom on her 70th birthday that I surprised her with, because it's this amazing video of her crying, surprised, happy. So I've got this unbelievable memory of my mom. So that's my most precious thing. And I just think at the end of the day, it's not going to be the money. It's not going to be the materialistic things. I'm literally, just yesterday, I found out I lost 25 years of stuff because one of my storage lockers got sold because we didn't realize the dates or the credit cards would change or something, and I was so busy with my conference. So all my artwork, all the books, everything that I had for 25 is gone.
Wow.
We'll never get it back. But you know what? It's the memories that are going to be the most valuable thing.
That's
and it's
so
the relationships
beautiful.
that I have that I'll always have.
Absolutely.
Not the physical material stuff.
That's such a beautiful way of looking at it, letting go. And that's another thing about being, a conscious entrepreneur. It's being, committed to something, but also being detached from the results. It's like you're committed to a result, but being detached from that. And so it's like letting go of things, being able to let go. So Thank you so much for your time. You're so incredible. I'm just just loving you, who you are, your contribution to me the last few days has been amazing. And I'm definitely here to pay it forward a millionfold to all the lives around me. You've just taught me so much about generosity, value, building relationships, and just so much more. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We've got some amazing other experts and speakers coming your way, so make sure you stay tuned.